Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the 32nd episode of From the Valley podcast. My name is Callum Alston. I will be your host. I'm not going to do any music today, mainly because I'm having some. I'm doing this on an iPad, so I don't have access to being able to hear myself back. Sam, can you hear me if you're in the chat? See if he comes back to me. Let me know if he can hear me. Brilliant, perfect. Okay, it's working. It's a little bit weird. I don't have any sort of audio playback. I'm going to take these out. Actually, I don't need these in. I can actually just speak directly to the microphone. That's good to hear. Yeah. So Charlton lose away at Coventry City. The league leaders, even without three of their best players, show their class. As I don't. Maybe it's different watching it not in person. I think that was a game that sort of showed quite a few of our flaws, especially going forward, and also some of the flaws that we have in terms of depth. There's been the problem, I think, pretty much all season. Let's sort of start with the good. First 20-25 minutes, I thought we were in the game. We did something actually that was quite similar to what we did at Bolton a couple of seasons ago. It's one of my favourite Nathan Jones games. We sort of absorbed pressure and then tried to hit them on the break. But it wasn't quite sort of 11 men behind the ball. We did try to sort of counter press. But excuse me, I got that cough. But we weren't clinical enough, quite frankly, in that game. And I remember it really, really well. I think it was Khan who scored twice. We had opportunities. We went 1-0 up. We scored. They equalised. Went back down the other end. Got another chance. We scored, etc., etc., etc. Today we weren't like that. The first goal comes from a free kick. It's a decent enough delivery from Kaminsky. Lloyd Jones wins it. Terry Campbell brings it down. It's actually a pretty nice first touch. Very scrappy. Drops to Nibs, and Nibs did what what he sort of paid to do, which is finish in the box. Good to see. I thought the first sort of 20-25 minutes were the best sort of 25 minutes of Harvey Nibs' Charlton career. I think the way that we played in that game really suited him. I don't think it was massively dissimilar to the way that Reading played at times last season when he was exceptional for a lot of it. But we were, what's the sort of phrase I would use? We just weren't clinical. You won the lap. Oluwafe, gilt edge shots. It's the same chance he missed against Wrexham across the box. You've got to get your feet there. Doesn't get there. Gets a 1-on-1. Same chance he had at Ipswich. Doesn't score. Still 1-0. And that's the frustrating bit for me, is that I think that I think we saw actually at times what all three forwards bring, but we also sort of saw in that time the weaknesses of all three of those forwards. So Terry Campbell coming in and out of the game, he's playing at left wing back for a lot of that second half. It's not his position. Oluwafe not clinical enough again. That's one goal out of seven really clear cut chances. He's the striker that the most clear cut chance to fall into. If anyone wants to know why he doesn't start games, and I'm sure, and I'll talk about in the Chronicles later, that would be my point. He had a gilt edge chance against Wrexham, doesn't get there. Gilt edge chance against Ipswich, doesn't beat the keeper. Those same two chances today, doesn't score. Had an opportunity against Stoke when he's running in an angle. It's a difficult angle against the best keeper in the league, I get that. But you're 3-0 down, take a shot. If it goes against the corner flag, who cares, just shoot. And I think that's, it's incredibly frustrating So anyway, yeah, I'm sure. From what I've seen, the criticism is going to three places. The goalkeeper for the second goal. Okay, he didn't get through 12 players. I'm not going to worry about it. Like, if you want to have a moan about it and think Mannion's going to make any change to that game today, I can't convince you. So I'm not going to try. NTC and Lee NTC again. I thought wasn't the worst player on the pitch by I think he sort of went up against their defenders. I think Miles put the ball down quite a lot, set up Sonny Kerry again. Kerry doesn't hit the target, got a chance. As I was sort of tweeting about earlier, I think we're very selective in our criticisms of certain players, and I don't think it's particularly helpful, if I'm being quite honest with you. The really major thing to come out of the game today was obviously Murray Bell. We saw for 25 minutes exactly what he brings to a game. Marshall, the left side of that defence, really well. Was really smart in his defensive positioning. So I was listening to Brownie on the commentary, and that's where he was bringing up this idea that oftentimes he would sit deeper in order to make it so that the winger thought they had more space than he did. He played into that space, Bell would come out. Should he have been sent off? Maybe. Was it a penalty? Probably. And we had one of those really strange refereeing performances where, the first half we didn't get anything off him other than that free kick. But probably the two big quote unquote decisions he got wrong in Coventry's favour, and that can happen. I think that officials don't necessarily get better the further up the league you go. But some bright spots. Nibs, obviously, as I said before. Although again, seems to have gotten himself injured. Incredibly frustrating. Just as he maybe was trying to find a little bit of form, probably some of Charlie Callum finally gets his goal, gets himself injured. That midfield now is looking really, really light. It's a really tough afternoon in many ways. I thought Coventry looked back to Coventry wasn't chasing shadows. I think he kept things in front of him. First goal it's not really on anyone. It's a striker playing on the wing. He steps out. Connor has to cover and plays it across. A lovely finish. It was Eccles. Puts in the bottom corner. I think the keeper can do. Second one's a corner and no one gets in the air. Trying to think other bright spots. Doc was actually good when he came on as a disruptor. I think this game probably suited him. In that sense, they were going to have the ball all the time. He wasn't asked to do too much technically. I thought Ramsey was okay. Thought Lloyd looked better than he had on Saturday and Tuesday, and I thought Gillespie looked better than he had earlier this week. But that's 4 losses in a row. Form doesn't lie. We're going up against him in better form than us over the last 5, quote unquote, but also in terrible form in Portsmouth. You lost again today at home to Bristol City. If you win that, you're back to 9 points clear of the bottom 3. You have a 6. If you can win that, say 2-0, right? Yeah, goal difference 11 better than Portsmouth, and you're 9 points clear of them. At that point, you can feel a bit more comfortable again. But as I've been saying this week, it wouldn't shock me to come out of this week with no points, but it's a huge amount of pressure on that Portsmouth game. I think it's really important to note, fair play to Coventry. They didn't really have to leave second gear. I said this on the Chronicles. I thought it would be very, very similar to the game at St Andrews last season. We played Birmingham. We were clearly the best team. They didn't have to leave second gear to beat us. Obviously, Coventry got a couple more goals than Birmingham did on that day, but Birmingham missed a couple of chances by a couple of inches, and it could have been 3-0 without too much hesitation. I'm not gonna get angry and annoyed and frustrated. I'm concerned. I think any fan would be when you've lost 4 in a row, especially in the circumstances of the last 2. Not including this one. I think that we didn't give stupid goals away today necessarily. I think that we're out of position when that left wing back went on. We're going to have to hope the new sign Jeremy Roussillon is can play. Quite frankly, you hope. Bell was stretching his leg out. You hope it was precautionary. Luton did this last year. They were desperate for him to come back. He came back and got himself re-injured again. Is this a concern, right? But it's a concern for Bell. It's a concern for Burke. It's in January they're going to have to go out and get fullbacks and a centre back. They have to. People banging on about strikers and midfielders. It does not matter. We have to get fullbacks and a centre back. Right? You're not going to spend 15 million quid in January, right? You're going to spend a couple of million. That's normally what teams do, right? Some of the comments I've seen today have been, to me over the top. Some of them have been, somebody said so. Some of them look as if we're losing at home to Addicks and Stanley and not away at the team. They were clearly going to win this division an absolute cancer without, they didn't have three of their best players. I get that. That's a real concern. They didn't need them. But they're really, really good. Redoni absolutely killed us in that 10 hole. Mason Clark absolutely killed us. Mason Clark always kills us, right? Always has done. It was his time at Peterborough, So, do I think that we're in a relegation dogfight, quote unquote? I'm not quite sure I'm there yet. There's still, 4 teams in between us and the bottom 3. Most of them have worse goal differences than us. I think probably Sheffield United will go above us at some point in the next couple of weeks. Probably before Christmas, and then you're probably looking at the 3 teams both. But you've got Portsmouth and Oxford at home in the space of 3 weeks, right? Yeah, St Andrews is a free hit, okay, right? But that if you can get 6 points off of Portsmouth and Oxford in the next 3 weeks at home, I think that they won't be so stressful heading into January. I think that those are the games that you've got to look at. You've got to look at Sheffield Wednesday later in the year, and it's incredibly frustrating. And if you looked at the table after we scored the Nibs goal, we were sat in 11th. So a couple of wins here and there. QPR are great going away from home, got them at home. They've just lost to Norwich 3-1 today. That's another worry because Norwich can spend money in January. But yeah, I'm frustrated as anyone. I'm Charlton fan through and through. I'm disappointed. I think we need a week off. We just need some time to get on the training ground, hopefully see if we can get someone back. But they've got to sort this this left-sided problem out because it is absolutely killing us. And if not having requisite left wing back cover is what sends you down, it's going to be painful and frustrating, right? In equal measure. So I don't want to stay on here too long. Obviously, I'm on holiday. I'm jet lagged. I'm a little bit irritated. I'm actually probably more irritated at some of the comments I read than the actual performance. I don't think the performance, all things considered, was anywhere near as bad as the one against Southampton or the one away at Stoke. I think that I'm just so tired of reading the same comments over and over and over again and hearing the same points over and over and over again. It's I don't want to see it that way. It's just I'm annoyed and I'm tired, so I'm not particularly used. So I just thought I'd get a really quick sort of 15, longest 20-minute thing out just so people can see it. I can record, thankfully, so people can hear, which is good, which means I can do these over the next couple. There won't be one for Middlesbrough after Pompey, just because it's going to be at stupid o'clock in the morning. I might even see if I can get up and watch the game at silly o'clock, but I'm definitely going to be. I probably won't do a review. I can't imagine. Let me just a couple of comments from Sam, just so I can cover them off. Just keeping in touch via final score, and they were saying they were getting the game and kept fighting. Yeah, we did. I don't think heads went down necessarily. I think that I do think we kept fighting. I do think that that we weren't necessarily overawed. We were overmatched. I think certainly. But I don't think we're a terrible side. I think that we, as I said, somewhere between 14th and 20th is fine by me. I'd like it not to be 20th. But this is what it is. It's what it is. I think some Tanto. Do you reckon he's lacking game time? To get those to go in. I think it's a vicious cycle. I think the reason he's not starting is because you can't have a striker having 4 or 5 opportunities. He's having 2 opportunities a game dropping and he's not putting either of them away. He can't finish his dinner. He's a striker who can't finish. You can't miss 2 straight one-on-ones multiple weeks apart. You can't miss being able to hit your foot to the ball twice. In the space of a couple of weeks. It's the same miss as you had 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, the way at Wrexham, and that's the frustration. I can give Sonny Carey a pass. It's a little bit more difficult. It's another excellent keeper at that level. It's near post. Should he make the keeper work? Yeah, he should. But there's a part of me that thinks if would equalise, I think Coventry could have pulled another level. I just don't think that this squad is close to being, a top 10 championship side, and that's frustrating after the start. And we're going to see these sort of overreactions, but we didn't lose that game today because of individuals. We didn't lose that game today because of tactics necessarily. We lost that game today because of what feels like it's not even a freak injury. It's just Murray Bell's hamstrings. They are what they are. They may have been better for us if he'd been actually sent off for that penalty, and then he wouldn't have had to play through the injury and would have been forced to sit down for 3 weeks. But anyway, sorry, it's not a happy one, everybody. But I think we're all frustrated, we're all irritated. I keep reminding myself these aren't the games that are going to send us down or keep us up. We've sort of already gone to 2 difficult places and gotten points. But we're just feels a little bit like the car is stuck in the mud a little bit. And you look at there's 4 games in December before the window opens. You've got obviously Portsmouth home, Oxford away, Norwich away, Portsmouth away, and those are the 4 that you go, look, if you can get points out of those 4 games, you should be okay heading into January. But we just, I will be in like panic stations if we lose to Portsmouth on Saturday. As I say, here's Toby Roosey on his fit, and we've got a proper left back there on a slide as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to hear Rich and Louis' thoughts. It'll be interesting to hear from Nathan after the game. But that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll get another pod out to you on Saturday after Portsmouth. Right, cheers everyone. Bye for now.